So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mrs. Anushka Kazbaze. Welcome you on behalf of Poornam Eco Vision to the G20 Civil 20 panel discussion, Life and Waste. A very warm greeting to all panelists and the audience here for this panel discussion. We are delighted to have you join us for this insightful panel discussion on the sub-theme of Life and Waste, which is organized under Civil 20 Engagement Group during India's G20 presidency in 2023. This event brings together distinguished guests, esteemed experts, and passionate individuals to explore the intersection of lifestyle, waste management, and environmental sustainability. The G20 or Group of 20 is an international forum comprising the world's major economies, fostering dialogue and collaborations on global economic challenges, financial stability, and sustainable development. Under India's G20 presidency, the Civil 20, that is C20 Engagement Group, serves as a crucial platform, amplifying the voices of civil society and providing recommendations on pressing issues. The Lifestyle for Environment, LIFE, sub-theme, which is coordinated by Poornam Eco Vision Foundation, emphasizes the importance of adopting sustainable practices to protect the environment. Within LIFE, the focus on waste management is crucial to address the issue of waste generation and its impact on our planet. To facilitate meaningful discussions and harness the expertise of professionals, civil society's several programs have been conducted as a part of Life and Waste sub-theme. Notably, the Chaupal, that is roundtable discussions, brought together cities' civil society organizations and experts across 9 cities and places in Maharashtra. These discussions provided a platform to exchange ideas and explore policy suggestions related to waste management. Additionally, a series of webinars offered insights to diverse aspects of waste management. Expert speakers covered topics such as sustainable consumption, waste-to-energy approaches, e-waste management, and inspiring waste management stories from remote areas of India. Today's panel discussion marks an important milestone in an ongoing efforts. Esteemed panelists will share their expertise, experiences, and insights, focusing on the challenges, opportunities, and innovative approaches related to life and waste. Through their collective wisdom, we aim to inspire collaborative action and contribute to a more sustainable future. We are excited to foster meaningful dialogue and generate valuable insights during this panel discussion. Together, we can explore effective waste management practices, draw upon the rich cultural and traditional heritage of India, and pave the way for a greener, cleaner, and more sustainable world. Thank you for being a part of this important discussion, and let us now begin our exploration of life and waste. Our panelists today are Mr. Manish Pathak, Dr. Gurudas Nulkar, Ms. Preeti Chauhan, Mr. Santosh Gondlekar, and Mr. Ramdas Kokri. Before we begin the panel discussion, we have few notes, like a short question and answer session will be held at the end of the presentations. You will have the opportunity to submit the text questions and share your comments as long as they are linked to the topic at hand, and we will address them in the panel discussion. So now, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Manish Pathak. Manish Pathak is a passionate enviropreneur with a strong background in computer science. He is a founder and managing director of 3R Management Private Limited, an environmental company specializing in solid and liquid waste management in India. With operation in 5 states and workforce of approximately 350 employees, 3R Management is making significant strides in the environmental sector. Manish Pathak's achievement speaks volumes about his commitment and vision. Under his leadership, 3R Management successfully deployed India's fastest solid waste management project which was inaugurated by our Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji. Additionally, Manish sir's team accomplished a groundbreaking feat by establishing an integrated solid waste management plant at the highest altitude in world in Leh. These achievements have garnered recognition from prestigious organizations, including United Nations Foundation, which honored 3R Management Private Limited with the Clean Technology Award in 2015. Sir himself has achieved the Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award by the Indo-Russian Chamber of Commerce in 2018, Safaigiri Award by India Today in 2019. Manish sir's dedication to environmental sustainability, coupled with his expertise in the IT field, has propelled him to the forefront of environmental sector. His remarkable leadership and remarkable growth of 3R management have solidified his position as the star entrepreneur in the field. With his eye on innovation and a commitment to making a positive impact on the environment, Manish Pathak continues to drive his company forward as one of the fastest growing startups in the solid and liquid waste management sector. I welcome you, sir, and would like to request to you to share your ideas. Thank you.
Namaste, Anushka ji, for this generous introduction about me. And I again salute everybody whosoever is I have an opportunity to share the screen with. I have gone through their profile. They have done wonderful work, and I still find myself to be an amateur in the field of environment, whatever I'm doing. But just to share what we have been doing and what was basically the force for not only me, probably a lot of people who want to work in environmental sector. It is the belief of being an Indian. It's a Indian thing basically, which basically drove me to start working in the environment. So, coming from a traditional family rooted with the Indian sanskar, I spent a good amount of initial professional time across the world initially. And after some 8-10 years, I decided to come back. And one thing that basically drove us, since beginning, we get to learn about these things and read Mata Bhumi Putroham Pratipya, the Indian way of life. But what is that? If this earth is, Bhumi is my mother, and everything around it is basically connected to me in that case. So it might be trees, it might be animals, it might be any kind of thing that is there on the land mass or in the environment is connected to me. So I am the embodiment of this entire thing. Now, once we start taking pride in this thing, once we repeat this thing every day, then we start finding the way that what is expected out of us, what all things we can do for the society, or more so for us, the basic karma way. So that basically starts guiding our life. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, I just played that. And second thing was, as an Indian, as a proud Indian, we all believe in law of karma. So law of karma is nothing but, in our life, one life, we have n number of responsibilities that we do. Sometimes we get carried away in things, but sometimes we just get some time to basically reflect upon whatever is happening in our life, whatever we are doing. And that was the kind of moment I got in once I came back to India and I ran an IT startup, sold it off. And I started thinking, what is next for me? So do I need to keep working on the same sector, working for myself, or is there something beyond this normal life? And then basically something strikes out from within, and that is basically what is more essential for oneself. So at that point in time, I was just passionate about creating new meanings in technical field. And one thing that across during the time that we have been visiting across the world, we saw that a lot of emphasis was given on the natural elements, and a lot of things basically happening around in the cleanliness, waste management, air, water. But ironically, in India, especially the rapid growth of the urban life basically outweighed the traditional approach of saving the environment, being connected to the environment. And it was nothing to do with the approach of society. It was basically the balance of growth and balance of um, sustainability. Somewhere it just got into the in the favor of unsustainable growth, and which happens. Sometimes we start running in our life. Sometimes we take up one charge, and we keep doing that thing only. But I decided that okay, now this is the time that we have to start working, and all the ingredients are there. All the ingredients are there in Indian society where we were thinking about it. We were forced to think about it. That environment is an essential part of growth and sustainable growth. Entire definition of sustainability itself was changing. So then I decided that no, this is time that we need to focus on something that gives more meaning to whatever I am doing. So me with my friends, we started that okay, let us start something in the environment. And when we think about environment, waste, water, air, all these things basically comes in our mind. And then we started our journey in the waste management sector. And more so, being an Indian, starting working in the environment field, it comes naturally to most of us, because we have seen our even of our family, mother, sister, dadi, grandmothers worshipping trees, worshipping animals, living in harmony. So that is there genetically ingrained in all our personalities. And once we see that the rapid growth, rapid urbanization, rapid economic growth, the changing definition of sustainability, the focus on this GDP, the notion of gross domestic product. So this basically has created an imbalance, has distorted the entire growth theory. Then we feel that okay, now this is something, this comes naturally to every Indian basically who wants to who gets drifted to start working in the environmental field or sustainability field. So this is not something that we have to think about it as a professional. It comes naturally to all of us because we are born and we are brought up with this kind of thing. So coming back to the concept of waste, there was something that was happening when we started, and everybody was trying to talk about waste is equal to wealth, waste is equal to wealth. And when we started studying about it, we found that this is one notion. This is one notion which has done more bad than good to the entire field of waste management in India. And I don't know the origin of this entire waste is wealth thing, but wherever it came from, it did more wrong as per me than to do right. So the moment we said it's a wealth, a lot of things started coming in the urban arena, especially in Indian context, if you talk about it. So we started thinking that whosoever waste is, urban localities, local government were custodian of waste. And they were kind of clueless how to manage it, how to do it. And they started following everything that was happening in the west. So everything we followed, what was happening in the west, goes into the west itself. The first thing that we discovered that waste is not wealth. It is just a myth that basically does more wrong than right. So waste was just a resource which needs to be recovered. And that's where we decided about starting 3R management. And 3R management goes beyond the normal traditional route of reduce, reuse, recycle. We said renewable resource recovery. So for us in this nature never creates waste. So it creates product and amenities for all the inhabitants of the earth. And everything has a cycle. So if I eat one banana and just throw the peel off, there is another living organism that basically starts eating it. It's a food to somebody else, some other entity. So there is a cycle in nature which is there. Only thing what happened in the greed, human greed, we have created a kind of a downward shift in that side. That's all. So we are going through, in a normal village scenario, just eat a banana and throw the peel off to some field. Basically, it will get into, it will become food for some other beings, and then it becomes compost. Finally, it enriches the soil. And that has been the way the society basically started from ancient times. And that was the way India used to be the fresh food economy. Then certainly with the rapid globalization and everything, we came into the packaged food economy, and we started getting the unbalanced people congregations. So big cities started coming up where more people were coming, and distribution of resources was one of the reason. And we started getting a lot of material which was end of life material for one person, and it just started accumulating. And the moment it basically gets mixed, it becomes a challenge, and that's where the entire concept of waste started happening. So initial days in India, what we did was, and so far also, and like most of the world, it's not just India, it's most of the world. The problem of waste was just that pick up from one place and dump it at some other place, and that's how the management was done. So it was natural everywhere. The same way it happened. Name the country and you will have landfills there. The same thing we also followed, because that was the way the world was going. Few countries were kind of more, they got more resources than us, and they started thinking about how to manage it. And in that management, they started creating a lot of new things, new technologies, good or bad, that is a point. But if you have to solve a problem, we have to adopt few approaches, and the approach might be good at that particular point in time. Tomorrow, it comes out that the approach was not good enough, and something new is needed. So in Indian context, that's how we started doing it. And we said that, no, it's a resource to be recovered. And for that way, we personally, I mean, as an organization, we went to a lot of places and we talked about it, that this management, this model of management of waste, where we just take it, collect it, and dump it at some place, it is just waste transportation, not management. Luckily, in 2014, a great shift came in this entire waste domain. And Swachh Bharat Abhiyan was proposed. It created a huge impact in the way that a question, a project like waste management started becoming the discussion of our family, our schools, our colleges. Earlier, people used to just feel that the moment I dump it to some place, it's the responsibility of municipal bodies or somebody else who will take my waste and do something about it. We were more about cribbing in nature, and it was more like not in my backyard. So the moment you take waste from my backyard, I'm happy, I'm fine about it. But after 2014, the dynamic shift came in, and more awareness started happening about it. And the results now we see in the way our airports, railway stations are looking, our cities are now competing to be more clean. A lot of initiatives were created. But one thing that we always believed was this entire cycle of waste creation. So there are two approaches. One approach is ultra decentralized. That is, waste should be managed at the household level. Another approach is systematically centralized. So both the approaches are needed. Maybe in the larger cities, bigger cities, a combination of that was supposed to be present. But the moment we approach our view that it's not waste, it's a resource to be recovered, our entire attitude towards waste changes. Then we start thinking what all thing can be recovered out of this entire mass that has come up with it. So the challenges was a mindset challenge in the people governing approach, financial ecosystem, entrepreneurial ecosystem. Now we see that a financial ecosystem has been created around it, and it was anyway there. But what we did was, the moment we consume something and we throw it in the dump, it starts losing its value. But value is still there. Mindset was not there. So with the more aggressive approach and new young entrepreneurs coming into this field, with Swachh Bharat, a lot of focus on segregation, a lot of focus on processing of waste, things started changing. And in my journey of last 8 years, I see that a lot of places things have completely in a different growth stage now, as far as the value recovery from the end of life product management comes in. So in our company also, we never say waste management, we say that we are renewable resource recovery company, and this mindset needed to be changed, and this mindset needs to change at the household level, that it is not waste, it's end of life. This product has completed the utility for my life, but it still has value. Somebody else might be able to use it or recover some value out of it. The moment we start getting into that, that is the basis of segregated waste disposal. So and then the moment I segregate it, it makes more sense for people, and it makes it more viable that some value out of it will be recovered. It might even be my kitchen waste, but the value can be recovered, which is now we see a lot of CBG projects happening around the country. So we did that, and based on that, we had a lot of projects going on across India. So we were lucky that we got the right start. We got the opportunity in one of the Indian territories, and why we took it was that the scope was collection, transportation, and processing. So we said that, okay, this is a fantastic opportunity. Can we show something here? We were lucky that the day project was signed, within 6 months, we got the project completed. And later on, we got to know that it was India's fastest deployed project. Within 6 months, the plant was ready. And we did it because we were not from the waste management field typically. We thought that why can't it be done? It's an industrial approach. It's some input is coming, and we have to start processing and get some output. Same thing we did. We got a chance to do in Jharkhand and different other places. Then came a fantastic story of Leh, and this will basically showcase the mindset shift in our policymakers, our governance, our society, and everything. So Ladakh Leh is a pretty tough place to work. I have never been there. I had never been there before we got this project. So we got to know the opportunity that there is a waste management project they want to do. And the major factor was that Discovery had published a story, world's highest altitude open dump yard in India. And that was the way Leh was depicted. For a small population, a lot of tourists and a lot of armed forces there, the quantum of waste was pretty significant, and that too in such kind of place where it cannot just go from that place to anywhere else, and with the temperature, you cannot just expect everything to start vanishing. So we got the opportunity, and we took it up. It was very not well thought of project by the department, and government department is typical way of designing a project and thinking about a project. But we thought that, okay, there are two ways. One way is to just stay aside, and second way is to just try to be part of the system, try to do your bit. We took the project, and it was poorly drafted design, and we were kind of execution partners only. But once we entered, we started suggesting the department. For example, one of the big thing that we did was they had planned a DG set. The diesel generator will be there to basically run the plant, and there will be a electricity line that will come to the plant. And we basically, the moment we got the project, we completed it, the machine installation. We talked to the administration, and we told them that Ladakh has got the highest solar fall. So let us make this project 100% off grid. We can run this entire project in solar, and they accepted it. So we minimized the requirement of any grid to come to the site, and DG set is there, but it is not needed now anymore. So these are small interventions that we proposed, and it was accepted. So that is we see it from the positive side of angle, that now there are people who are ready to listen to your stories, listen to your suggestions. Not everywhere, but it's fine. So we entrepreneurs especially entrepreneurs, we live with hope is dope kind of approach. And end of the day, we see that what all we achieved out of this entire thing, and that keeps us motivated and going. So this is what Ladakh, and then now, so this particular project now they are proposing it to be in the Guinness Book because it's one of the highest altitude project that is there. Then we worked in South India also. There was another story of Rashtrapati Bhavan. So we wanted to symbolize a lot of things here. So we talked to Rashtrapati Bhavan that you are the first residence house, and why waste is going out of this place? Why can't we just do it decentralized here? That one name, Mr. Poornam Mukherjee was the president of India. He was impressed with the idea that yes, Rashtrapati Bhavan should be one integrated place, and there should not be any waste which goes out of our location, our site. So we installed a plant within the campus. It's a complete ecosystem that basically more than 2,000, 3,000 people stay inside, and so they become waste smart campus. So our idea was that big campuses who can manage, who are as a unit, they can start managing their waste locally themselves, convert it into something more useful, and they sell it out because transportation basically decreases the value of it. Same thing we started doing with a lot of big campuses. So public sector undertakings. So we became kind of proponent there, and it was not we who became proponent. There was this entire shift. People were ready to listen to your ideas. And then it went to the level of individual big household owners also. So they created, we created a system where we told them that no waste should go out, no waste water should go out, start using it. So at few places it was electromechanical equipments that we provided, few places it was more consulting. So a lot of, for example, right now there are more than 16 universities where we advise them how to make eco-smart campus. So eco-smart campus means waste smart and water smart. The moment you add that smartness approach, it just becomes eco-smart campus. It's not always about the management part of it, the finance part of it. Then this project was fantastic when we in India Gate. Now it is kind of covered. So we had 8 metric ton grass and leaves every day leaving India. And we saw that what is the cost of this disposal of this grass and leaves, and it was coming 4,400, and I'm talking about 7 years ago, 4,400 rupees per metric ton. We installed a machine there, we converted that into biofuel, and it was used then and there only, and the entire cost was in less than 3 years, they recovered the cost of the plant. That machine also became kind of good investment by different departments at different places. So a combination of segregated, decentralized approach, community approach, and a centralized approach is something that we started doing, and it worked in our favor most of the places in India. So then we did something with the temple flowers. So it was initial days, and we started working that these temple flowers are, we go to these temples and we offer our flowers, and what happens to these flowers? End of the day, they go to some dump yard, or they are thrown into some channel, or they start polluting our rivers. So we designed a machine which takes the flower in and which converts it into Havan Samagri. And in Delhi, we installed it at one of the plants. Again, it got some traction, and a lot of places it started happening. So these were the early days when we started doing things, and it started happening. Same happened with the water project also. But now what happened after 3-4 years, we decided that these are the small projects which needs to be taken by young entrepreneurs, and we enter into a journey of creating more environment. So as of today, when we are speaking, there are more than 29 entrepreneurs with whom we shared our technology, with whom we shared our plant production capacities, our vendors, and we told them you can start doing this in your locality. So this is not always about selling the machine. This is about creating a solution for the society. So now I feel that getting people convinced in India is much easier than probably people might be coming because they don't come just with the mindset of making money out of it. the moment they think about, the moment they read stories about, say, Ramdas Kokare or Mr. Bharve or Namtaji, such kind of stories, the moment they hear, they get something kicking in their heart that, okay, I also want to be a change maker in my small little capacity, whatever it is not. And by the way, it is not not sustainable for me as a financial venture. So we started doing that, and so now we mentor new entrepreneurs also to do this, become an entrepreneur, take up some project, and it's not about any technology, it's not about any machine, it's not about any plant, it is about the solution. So we always say that it is an environmental problem, and you need to have a solution mindset. But at the same point in time, the basic thing is that we always profess and we always say that environment cannot be a business for just the heck of it. If you are not environmentally conscious, you have no business to be in the business. And so this is something that as a, when we go as an industry or when we go as I go as a mentor, I also tell them, if you are thinking about profit only, this is not a business for you, because you will get tired. If you feel happy about it, that because of me, 1 metric ton waste is not going to the land and dump yard, and it gives you satisfaction, you will survive. Otherwise, it's not a very fascinating journey. It might look very fascinating at times, but it doesn't happen that way all the times. So, and our people who are we are mentoring, they are now doing eco-smart apartment buildings. We provide them a lot of technologies and a lot of things, technically a lot of things we are doing. So I will just stop my presentation here itself, because it was not about sharing about the projects that we have done. It's more about the opportunity that we have right now. And every one of us is working in one such opportunity in our own capacity, in our own thing. So I had two options when we started thinking about project environment or waste when we came to India. One was to keep fighting with the authorities and keep becoming one, what we say, Andolan Karta. But we took the next approach, try to find solution, keep going, keep knocking to the doors of people where there might be some use of this particular thing. And that basically gave us a lot of satisfaction also, and that gave us a lot of new ways also. Still, it's a challenging field. It's because the mindset change at different level. There are a lot of corners involved: individuals, society, government, officials, where there's a system which has basically developed in last n number of years. But what makes us alive and kicking is that seeing the work of fellow entrepreneurs, seeing the work of people who have been working for the last 30 years, 40 years, 20 years. And then we feel like, oh, this is something worth doing. And that basically makes every one of us, whosoever is working, happy and smile on normal hectic days that every entrepreneur basically goes through. And we feel sorry about it so many times in our life. Oh, this ye bhi nahi ho raha hai, wo bhi nahi ho raha hai, ye bhi nahi ho raha. Then we basically remember a few things that is happening and feel so happy about it. So this is what, and in this fantastic that I will be able to learn a lot of new things that other people are doing. So thank you, Anushka ji, for giving me the opportunity to talk to people here and share my story of the way things we are trying to do.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Manish sir, for giving your experiences and opinions about this. I think this ultra decentralization and systematically centralized solutions will be more effective for solid waste management systems in India. Thank you. Thank you so much. So moving on towards our next panelist, Dr. Gurdas Nulkar, we have with us to speak about on the topic that is our culture. Our culture is our culture, that is OUR culture, also for waste management and eco-friendly festivals. So Dr. Gurdas Nulkar is a distinguished academic and expert in the field of sustainable development. With over 30 years of experience, including 14 years in academia and development sectors, Dr. Nulkar has made significant contributions to the understanding and promotion of ecological economics and environmental sustainability. He currently serves as the professor and director of the Center of Sustainable Development and at the renowned Gokhale Institute of Politics and Economics in Pune. Dr. Nulkar's expertise actively engaged in various projects and initiatives related to sustainability and climate change. He served as a head of Symbiosis Center for Climate Change and Sustainability and has played a key role in making Pune carbon neutral project in collaboration with Pune International Center. His involvement as a reviewer and expert in the United Nations ESCAP, that is Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific project, for Pune Smart City further demonstrates its commitment to addressing urban challenges from an environmental perspective. In addition to his academic and project-related endeavors, Dr. Nulkar is a prolific author with numerous publications to his name. His books cover a wide range of topics, including agricultural literature, economic literature, and ecological management. Dr. Nulkar's research has been published in esteemed journals addressing crucial issues such as carbon emissions, green transportation, biodiversity conservation, and the intersection of sustainability and business practices. Through his extensive knowledge, research contributions, and active engagement in ecological assessments and restoration projects, Dr. Gurdas Nulkar has become a respected figure in the field of sustainable development. His work and expertise play a vital role in shaping policies and practices that promote a harmonious relationship between the economy, environment, and society. I welcome you, sir, and requesting you to share your views. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Manish, for such an inspiring talk. And it's always so good and so hopeful to hear young people like you who are already making a difference in societies, and especially not just where you live, but to so far off places like Leh, Ladakh, Madhya Pradesh, Delhi, all of that. Very good. Thank you so much for that. And thank you, Anushka ji, and the entire team at Poornam for arranging this session of this extremely important subject, which is directly related not just to climate change, but also to our relationship with humans and nature. So the topic which I would like to highlight a little bit is about how our traditional value systems and how religion has played a role in building a lifestyle which was founded upon frugal use of natural resources, one, and second is how it was founded upon the concept of circularity. So first and foremost, let me just spend a few minutes on talking about the frugal use of resources, which was advocated here. If you look at the history of mankind, right from Homo sapiens, when we were hunter-gatherers, and then pastorals, and then settled agrarian communities, we have always relied upon the landscape to provide us our resources for livelihood, for sustenance, right? So during the hunting gathering stage, we actually were moving around as nomadic tribes. When we took whatever we got from the land, we ate, we had a good life. It was a laborious life. Every day morning, we had to go out and find food for ourselves. There was no storage of food. So every day morning, you go out and do the same thing. And we moved on when the landscape stopped providing things, right? So we lived absolutely within the biocapacity of that piece of landscape. We lived within the ecological carrying capacity of the landscape. Over time, as we moved on to the pastoral stage and then into the settled agriculture, and then today into the industrial stage of mankind, we see that we have been able to exceed the biological carrying capacity of that land where we now reside. And that, according to me, is the respect the laws of nature in our economy. Our economy blatantly overrides the nature's laws. For example, the second law of thermodynamics, that entropy is always going to grow. The state of dispersal is going to, we no longer care for that. We want to build currency. We are a currency making engine today. And anything and everything that is needed to generate currency from natural capital is put into that. The engine is well lubricated, and then we move on by improving our efficiency of generating currency from natural capital. Now, there are two things which happen in this quest for what I call as the quest for GDP. GDP becomes the single most important thing in our lives. And that is what is respected, and that is put on a pedestal and worshipped every day, day in and day out. There are two things which happen. When we talk about growing the GDP endlessly, we imply that the natural capital is going to be reduced and depleted. That is because everything that you see today, that you wear, that you eat, that you sit on, that you live in, is made from natural capital. We stay in clay houses made of cement. We wear clothes of cotton that is coming from agriculture. Each and everything. I'm staring at a laptop which is made from entirely natural materials. Plastic, which has become a big problem, is made from fossil fuel. Everything needs natural capital. So every rupee that is made in the economy has consumed the natural resources. That's point number one. Second point, when we talk about growing the GDP, we also imply, like Manish rightly said, that we are going to pollute nature. Because in nature, there is no pollution. No school textbook will tell you this, that there is no pollution in nature. The detritus of one species is food for another. The death of a tree means soil. It's going back into the nutrient. Nature can degrade and decompose everything that it has made by itself. The only thing nature cannot degrade and decompose is a molecule made in the factory. So plastic, glass, shampoo, toothpaste, soap, pesticides, insecticides, fertilizers, all of these are factory-made molecules which cannot be degraded. And then we have to have stalwarts like Manish Patak, Santosh Gondarekar, Preeti Chavan, and the others to find ways of how we can bring these factory-made molecules back into the cycle and remove the linearity component in it and introduce the circularity component in it. So moving from linear to circular in this modern industrial age is by itself carbon emitting cycle. So recycle is actually the last thing we should think of. The first thing we should think of is refuse. We should refuse those materials which are actually polluting the planet. There are so many things which we can refuse. That should be actually what we have to be doing. That's the first part of what I wanted to say. Second part of what I wanted to say is something to do with how nature operates. And that's exactly how our traditional value-based system, religious system has been operating. If you look at what nature works with, can I just quickly share my screen? Let me see if I can share my screen, because I've just quickly made a slide as Manish was talking, because he was talking a lot of sense, and I thought, let me just put together something. Can you see my slide?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So I have just made a laundry list of two columns, nature and economy. Let's see how nature works. In nature, there is complete diversity. The nature operates on diversity. There is physical diversity, there is biological diversity, there's climatic diversity, everything. It thrives on diversity. In nature, there is complete dependence upon everybody, right? Everything, right from soil to the tiger, everybody is depending upon each other. Everybody has an equal status. The butterfly is equally important as much as the tiger is. The Gangetic dolphin is as important as the zooplankton in a small pond. Everybody has an equal status and role. There is exchange of matter and energy between the physical and the biological elements, between the diversity. There is decomposition and nutrient cycling. There is cyclicity in nature. On a planet with finite resources, if you have to live for an infinite number of lives and generations, the only thing which you will have uses. Decentralization. This is extremely, nature has got limits. You can't grow populations beyond a certain limit. You can't consume more than a certain limit. Everything in nature has that. And therefore, it has an equilibrium. It's a dynamic equilibrium. Look at the economy. Standardization is the norm of today. We have to standardize everything so that people consume more. Right? Eating McDonald's burgers, everything is now standardization. Nature doesn't depend on human activities. The dependency is human beings, not nature. Human supremacy, there is no equal status, there is no equality in role. We have social classes, we have human supremacy. We take from nature, there is no give back. So there is no recycling, there is no decomposition. There is absolutely no degradability. We don't build refrigerators and microwave ovens to degrade. There is complete linearity instead of cyclicity, and there is ultimate centralization, extremely energy intensive. And finally, there are no natural limits. Limitless growth through energy consumption. That is what the economy thrives on. And now, if you look at the right-hand side of my screen, we will realize that waste and pollution have to be a byproduct of this kind of living. There is no option. Do not believe anybody who tells you that we are a zero waste company or there is zero liquid discharge or whatever. They have new terminologies there. It just doesn't work. The only thing which really mattered earlier is that our religion, our social fencing, the norms which society had were actually mimicking nature. They were talking about diversity, dependency, equal status, exchange, all of what you see on the left-hand side. On the other hand, when you want to take natural capital and convert it to currency, the left-hand side is less efficient and the right-hand side is far more efficient. Right? That becomes the source of this thing. So if you have to attack the problem of waste, you have to think about how do you change the right-hand side. You don't have to simply look at what do you do to plastic. You don't have to look at what do you do to sewage, but you have to look at what do you do to the economy. That becomes the fundamental starting point. And today, in every sustainability discourse, this part is missing. We don't talk of the economy. It's just too inconvenient for us. We talk about end-of-pipe technologies, which are extremely important, but not sufficient to take us to the new generation. Right. That's it. I just wanted to share these thoughts with you. Thank you. Anushka?
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your views on this important aspect of waste management. It will be obviously guiding us for our future path also. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now we'll move on to our next speaker, Preeti Chauhanji, who is going to talk on From Mountains to Valleys, that is exploring the waste management challenges in remote area or remote India. Preeti ji is a dedicated social entrepreneur, civil engineer, and sustainable environment management professional. Driven by her passion for the environment, she transitioned from the successful corporate career to focus on making a positive impact in the environmental sector. With over 7 years of experience in the corporate world, she pursued postgraduate studies in sustainable environment management and entrepreneurial leadership to enhance her knowledge and expertise in the field. In 2020, Preeti ji founded Little Green World, a social enterprise aimed at promoting environmental training and consultancy services. Through the Little Green World, she aspires to empower individuals to become conservationist and embrace a zero waste lifestyle. Her work extends beyond organizational activities as she actively engages with communities, organizations, and children in Himalayan region to create awareness and drive positive change. Preeti ji has also played a pivotal role in significant research projects tackling plastic pollution in the Ganga basin and exploring upstream plastic waste solutions in the Himalayas. Her collaboration with renowned organizations like Center of Global Affairs and Public Policy and National Geographic Explorer has allowed her to contribute to the understanding of microplastic presence and social aspects related to environmental conservation. With her multidimensional expertise and commitment to sustainable practices, Preeti Chauhanji making significant strides in promoting environmental awareness and driving positive change. So I welcome you, Preeti ji, and to share your views and experiences with us for today's session. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that introduction. And I really feel honored to be on this panel because I feel I'm the youngest one. And there is a lot of knowledge out there. And I also feel that Gurdas sir, whatever you said, even Manish sir, whatever you said, we are trying to do that in bits and pieces and in the remote parts of Ladakh. So I'll just quickly share what we are trying to do and how we are doing everything that you mentioned, Sir Gurdas, sir, you mentioned, and what Manish ji has also mentioned. I'll try to just share that. So what we have been doing is we are working more on the behavioral change through education and then helping people adopt sustainable practices. And also not like we suggest them the practices, but get that information from them itself. So we work in a place like Ladakh, which is very unique from the rest of the country. The population is less, but the geographically it is one of the most difficult place to work. And I founded Navikru Eco Foundation and Little Green World after like being in Mumbai, working in corporates. In 2017, I realized that there is something else that I want to do, or rather, I was just trying to find out what I want to do. I was happy with my corporate life, but then when I trekked in the mountains, when I first picked up the waste, it was the realization this waste is lying here for 6 months, and who is going to pick up, and how is going to go back? And I was still struggling to understand. There was this more urge to go back to the mountains again and again, and trying to find what do I do next. So I took different steps, and eventually I landed up in Ladakh in 2019. I did a fellowship, which was on entrepreneurship and leadership, and that's when Little Green World was born. So what problem that we had identified is, particularly if I talk about Ladakh, there is a lot of tourism. As per to a study in 2018, 3 lakhs tourists had visited and 50,000 plastic bottles were dumped daily. There is high energy consumption. There is change in food practices, food consumption in the locals as well. So it was not just the tourism, but also the local consumption practices were changed. So how to deal with that? And like us being such a small organization, what we decided to do is we wanted to enable each individual to become a conservationist. Like not like being conservationist, I mean that everyone needs to go on the road and protest or do some activism, but how they can start on their own level. Same way, practicing zero waste. And also, zero waste is something which was practiced in India. So can we get that back, get back that? And can we revive some practices? We need some changes, but can we also get something from what our ancestors used to do? So how there are 3 things that we do. First, we do lean notice education. We do small scale infrastructure projects, and we are working in like data collection and policy development, because everything needs to go hand in hand. We try this all different approaches where like do education, find alternatives, also try to push for the policy. So we've been working in Leh, Kargil, Zanskar, some of the most difficult part, and it has been challenging, but it is most satisfying journey because every time we go and see the change, and if the help has been reached, the satisfaction that is we achieve is something different. I would never get that in Mumbai with my corporate life. So what we've been doing, we have been doing this experiential learning program. So we've been going and teaching students, community members, everyone, what are the different types of plastic, where they come from, how are they utilized, which ones are safe, which ones are difficult, like unsafe, are all recyclable, how they can be recyclable. Giving that basic knowledge, like this is very important, but we are never told. We think everything is recycled. So we go and put this information in community. Like if you see a picture here, so we do these activities where the children are going and pasting this puking emoji on the products which are hazardous. So identifying which are the products hazardous, identifying which are the activities that were safe. And activity-based learning. Can we give them projects to make? Like, can you make a zero-waste model? There are already things which are like new introduction of products because of which it becomes zero, unsustainable. But can we think of how they can make? And we've introduced these programs to even monastic schools, and not just limiting it to the local schools, but how can we have religious institute also have this say, because they also talk a lot about environment. Can we get their perspective also? One of the most important thing that we have been able to do is find alternatives, and where we involve the community. We give a limited budget, financial assistance, but ask that community to support. Like here, if you see in the left side, the parents, students, teachers, everyone contributed in constructing a passive solar house. A passive solar house is one which uses the natural sunlight, which is available in abundance in Ladakh, and also the waste that they had collected, that they used in the insulation of the walls. All the like labor work was done by the communities. The students are participating in the program. Like, just it will be not zero waste, but can we just name it to begin with? And we have put this different banks. We have named the dustbins as banks, like plastic bottle bank, plastic wrapper bank, paper bank, and the waste segregation happens at source. So that brings the behavioral change. And again, not just limiting here, but then going and identifying which are the problems there are, which are the products that are creating more problem, and can we find an alternative to that? We built a greenhouse in one school in Kargil. So again, trying to promote our own local food. So every school has midday meals. So can the schools grow their own vegetables and utilize that in the part of a supply in the midday meal? And in Ladakh, the summers, in early summers and early winters, the food can be, or the vegetables can be grown in the greenhouse, but not in the outside natural environment. So one of the, when I talk about the policy work that what we have done, so we have, even today I was on a cleanup drive and we have collected data. So we have done a lot of waste cleanup drives, and we have not just done the cleanup, but we have collected the data. And there is something called as the Himalayan cleanup, which happens from May 26 to May 30th, and we lead that program in Ladakh. So the different schools that we work with, we encourage them to participate in that, and we ask them to write like, which are the products? Are they food product? Are they personal care product? Are they smoking material? So if you see this picture here, we went to Changthang Hanle, which is uh, where the northern lights were also seen. So there, at that place, we went for bird watching, and we had seen a beautiful Eurasian eagle owl, and just next to the road, this pit was there. And we did the we did not do the cleanup. We just got the waste out and identified which were the products which were there. And you see this, there were 108 Kinley mineral water bottles were found, which is from Coca-Cola. So cannot Coca-Cola come under the EPR policy? Cannot they come and work like work out towards the take back policy? So all this data was collected when we had done some of this work. And last year there was a mountain legislation meet there was this sustainable mountain development summit 11 that happened in Ladakh, and in that summit, a legislator meet had happened where all the data that we had collected was proposed. Like, why do we need a different extended producer responsibility in Ladakh? Not just Ladakh, but in all the Himalayan regions. What are the geographical challenges? The landfill site selection in Himalayan regions is difficult. So can we not look for that? So this was the letter that was proposed, EPR, policy to practice. If you want, I can read all of it one by one, but it basically mentions that single-use plastic eradication plan should be placed in place in Himalayan region. Actualize segregation at source and decentralized management should happen. Investing in building capacities and leadership. All these places are very far flung. Even the segregation plants or the MRF which have been installed, they are all in where in the main cities. But in the other parts of the areas where the population is very like it's very scarce. It's very decentralizedly like scarcely populated. So it becomes very difficult. Like more money will be spent in getting a plastic bottle from a particular place for sending recycling to recycle rather than leaving it there. So can we not look up for alternatives? Like mineral water bottle is one of the major waste that is found in the touristic places or in the Himalayan places. Can we not have water refills? And to plan these projects in a way that they are successful, because these places are very different from other places in India. The weather plays a very important role. The geographical location, the distances play a very important role. Most of the projects fail at operation and maintenance. The capacity building of people is important. So can we not look at that and not looking at waste and environment conservation just as something to be looked down, but can that not be something to be looked up in a more pride manner? Because we have a 3 people team and we are working here. So, and people do not, everyone is looking for government jobs here. Can we not look at entrepreneurship? Can we not look at options? And can we not look at alternatives that can be worked out? And as Gurdas sir rightly said, culture, we have our own culture. Every Ladakhi also now wants a concrete house. Can we not look back to the mud house? Why we are just because it is the concrete houses are more fancy looking, but they actually consume more energy. Not just for the cement that has been brought from a different state, but the concrete houses are more cold. So in winters, they need more like a heating system. So everything goes, we need to think from the core. And that's what I really I agree to everything that you said, Gurdas sir, ki वापस circularity पे कैसे जाए? And that is what we are trying, and that is what we are going and telling all the communities. I tell them, I am an outsider. You teach me how things used to happen here. I can be a catalyst for particular few things where you do not have knowledge, but the other rest of the things you only can teach me. And together we can do it better. And not like just the bringing big machinery will not bring all the solutions. We just really need to decentralize, and which is very important. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Preeti ji, for such a detailed point, a description about this, what changes exactly what you want to make in the Ladakh, and especially related to policies. Since you are working in at the root level, you can actually experience all these problems, and that's why you are specifically, you can actually able to specify these problems at this level. Thank you. Thank you so much for this insightful presentation. Yeah. So Now, again, we are going with the flow of our panel discussion regarding our next topic, that is very, very important, related to what we are just now, we were discussing about. It's a confluence of technology and tradition for better waste management. And obviously for this, we have with us Mr. Santosh Gondrekar, sir. Santosh ji is a highly accomplished professional with a diverse background in energy, agriculture, and water resource management. With an impressive educational qualification that includes Bachelor of Engineering, a Master of Arts in Economics, and Masters in Technology in Energy, Gondhelekar ji has established himself as an expert in sustainable solutions. He is the Managing Director of Gangotri Eco Technologies Private Limited, where he focuses on biomass-based energy solutions and water resource management. With over 30 years of experience, Gondhelekar ji has made significant contributions to the field of energy management. His innovative research and invention in the high-speed biomethanation process have led to development of green bio-CNG and biomass fuel pellets, offering sustainable alternatives to petrol, diesel, and LPG. His expertise extends to biogas production from non-dung feedstocks and lignocellulosic biomass. Gondhelekar ji holds multiple patents in India, European Union, and USA for his groundbreaking biogas technologies. Recognized for his outstanding contribution, he has received prestigious awards such as Ashoka International Fellowship for Social Entrepreneurship and COEP Abhiman Award. He is an active participant in conferences, workshops at national and international level, and has attended global events like the World Summit of Sustainable Development and World Water Forum. His work in promoting sustainable energy solutions and his dedication to environmental conservation make him a leading figure in the field of renewable energy and resource management. I welcome you, sir. Aapka swagat hai. And we are waiting to hear from you about various aspects about this innovative technologies. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Anushka ji and the organizers. My job is very easy now because already Manish ji, Gurudas ji and Preeti ji has already explained a number of technologies and the solutions. But I'll just share some of additionalities and additional thoughts that we are also doing here. I'd like to share my screen. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So I'm just sharing my experiences in waste management. I think first slide, next. Yeah, basically the waste management has turned into garbage management because everything that we are processing, doing, using, utilizing, everything, and effectively at the end of the day, we are mixing all the so-called waste and putting it into the garbage bin. And as we travel, not only in rural areas and urban areas and anywhere in across the country, we see garbage across everywhere on the roadsides and everywhere. Next. Technically, as already we have listened to with the experts, but there is no waste in nature. Whenever we mix all the different kinds of so-called waste or resources together, it becomes a waste. And as we can see here, if we segregate wet waste and dry waste, and there are hundreds of components in wet waste and hundreds of components in dry waste, whenever each component is separate, it is a resource. And whenever all these components, the resources are mixed together, it becomes a waste. So technically in nature, there is no single material or thing that we call it waste, but only it is a wasted resource, we can call it. Next. And so, as technically there is no waste in nature, but technologically, traditionally there is no waste, but technologically we can call all this waste as a resource. And from when we analyze it, as Gurudas ji has said, we are manufacturing some different molecules like plastics and even the crude oil and all other energy sources. So whatever components we are using, we can effectively convert them back into the energy or power form. So whatever interventions that we have introduced in the nature, we can recirculate it and recycle back into the original energy form of that circle. So there is definitely a role of technology where we can convert all so-called wet waste and dry waste into different forms of energy and power, and we can utilize all that processes. Next. So there are, whenever we are into urban areas, cities, we can differentiate waste into wet waste and dry waste, and each waste, each type of waste can be converted into a product. So when we consider wet waste, we can convert it into a product called either composting, or we can use that wet waste into convert it into a biomethanation process and convert it into CNG or any conventional gas, and we can generate power based on it. As also, when we consider a dry waste, it includes different kinds of plastic, paper, leather, and glass and metals. We segregate these dry waste into two different forms. One is combustible and the other is non-combustible waste. So in non-combustible waste, we can consider glass and metals, which can be recycled back into the glass and metal themselves. And whatever is a combustible dry waste, that includes the plastics and paper and leather and shoes and anything that is made up of plastics and organic matter, can be converted into an energy form. So our idea is to recycle and reuse all the dry waste in the form of energy and make it a circular economy. So all kind of different dry waste can be within a single day converted into a reusable resource and can be used as an energy source. So effectively, we can recycle the whole process, all different kinds of dry waste and wet waste into a useful form of energy. Next. As it is applicable in urban areas, it is also applicable in the rural areas as well. I'll specifically share my experience in with the rural area. Everyone knows that in Punjab, in North India, normally in just after monsoon season, a lot of rice is getting harvested, and a lot of stubble burning or rice straw burning takes place in Punjab. And the quantity of waste, that is agriculture waste, can be called a biomass waste technically. It cannot be easily converted into compost within a short time. And farmer, mostly in Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, simply burn it. And it creates such a huge smoke and fog mixed with fog that our national capital, Delhi, becomes a gas chamber. And we every year read these stories in October, November, that farmers are burning this rice straw, and the national capital and northern India is getting converted into a huge pollution challenges. And after a month, as the burning gets over, and again we are back to normal, and we simply forgot that there was in October, November such a pollution where Delhi becomes the one of the top 5 countries, cities in the world that becomes a gas chamber kind of thing, pollution kind of thing. So we took this as a challenge. So in rural areas, the huge biomass, which is of different lignocellulosic biomass, is also a different kind of waste, because considering the food chain, this becomes a surplus, agriculture residue becomes a surplus. And we have developed two technologies based on this agro residue, which is one kind of waste, different kind of waste. Maybe we call it a biomass, but it's technically a surplus that has been produced. And we have developed a process where this lignocellulosic biomass, the rice straw, can be converted within a single day into biogas, and biogas can be upgraded to biomethane and can be upgraded to bio-CNG. So as on today, we are setting up first of its kinds of technology and projects in Punjab and Haryana, where about 1 lakh tons of rice straw will be consumed every year and will be able to drive more than 1,000 buses every day. So such kind of technology we are setting up and will be commissioned and will be operational by end of this year. And we can see and we believe and we feel that whatever technology interventions will be done should get converted into a tradition. See, what is tradition after all? It's the learning and wisdom that has been developed over decades and decades. So for last couple of decades, we see this Punjab and rice straw being burned and has become a challenge. And possibly there is a technology which is available now, which instead of burning can convert this biomass into a useful resource like a bio-CNG. And even biohydrogen, we can convert it into CNG, can be converted to biohydrogen as well. And we can run vehicles. So there is no burning, no pollution, no carbon dioxide emission in that context, no CO emission, no SOx, POX, NOx being emitted, and still it can become a useful resource. So I think how the traditions were developed, because each time everywhere some small different kind of technologies were developed, and over a period of time those technology has become a tradition. So I think this age in coming 10 years, I think the challenge that we faced in last 10 years, that is the burning of rice straw, can be converted with the technological intervention into a useful resource and may become a tradition later in next couple of decades. And we can say this is our Indian tradition. So till date, not only in the rice straw, but even in Paschim Maharashtra and UP, whenever sugarcane is been cut, whatever sugarcane trash is there, it is also been burned. The same thing is in North India, where a lot of bamboo is being grown, and millions of tons of bamboo goes waste every year because there is no use of it. And huge jungles are there, but it is all technically a waste in that kind, because it cannot be used anywhere in the human chain or utilization for civil utilization as well. So I think technology and tradition should go hand in hand. And though initially we call it a technology, a separate part of tradition, but sooner or later we can convert that technology as a part of tradition. And similarly, including the composting or including the bio-CNG, we can use also this biomass and convert it into pellets and briquettes. And now Government of India has come up with a notification that at least 5% of this pellets briquettes, that is green coal or white coal, should be consumed in conventional thermal power stations where coal is being used. So we see biomass as an energy resource can 100% substitute coal, and if we convert it into biogas, it can 100% substitute petrol, diesel as well as LPG. So the same resource, with the use of technology, we can completely get used to substitute fossil fuel as well. So I think there is a fine thread between the technology and the tradition. And we are, as an engineer, basically with the background of engineering and the microbiology, we feel that all the experts here, they are trying to develop a different tradition. So maybe a centralized level or decentralized level, that is our job. Because waste, as Manish ji said, that in last 10 years only we are looking at waste as a waste. Otherwise, we were not even visualizing that there was a waste everywhere. But because of some government, we are able to see the waste, and we are developing a tradition where it will become a garbage-free, waste-free cities and rural areas are well. Next slide, please. So to conclude, I think as a policy intervention, I think if we have a segregation at source in urban areas, for that we require proper awareness and enforcement of solutions. So technology needs to be implemented, and technology should be such that it should not be considered in parts and bits and parts, but a turnkey implementation process. I think Preeti and Manish already doing from collection and processing and disposal. Everything should come under under one roof. Then only the technology will be implemented. Till that, the technology was segregated, even the solutions were segregated. But if we give a responsibility of collection, a segregated waste collection, processing and disposal under one roof only, to one company only, a different tradition can get developed. So in urban areas, I think decentralized application, maybe ultra decentralized or medium decentralized, we can call it. We need not collect waste more than 1 ton. Anywhere in Pune, we know that we generate the waste of the order of 2,000 tons of wet and dry waste together. But I think the waste solution should be such a decentralized, may not be reached to each house and hotel, but if we can collect up to 1 to 5 tons of waste at decentralized level, and there itself we can convert that thing into a resource, and that tradition, localized tradition can be developed. And similarly in the rural areas also, waste to energy and with value addition to farmer as well. So now we purchase this rice straw from farmer, we pay them instead of they simply burning it into the field, we pay them and have a value addition thing, and we use it as a resource and use it to substitute fossil fuels. So that is value addition to farmer as well, and also value addition to environment as well. So I think there is no waste in nature. Technically, the waste is in mind. We have to remove it from mind, and we have to convert that, use the technology and convert it into our traditions. And that is, I think, the Indian way, the Swadeshi way of looking at the waste, sooner or later. But a time to come in next, I think, 5 to 10 years, things would change drastically. And so many pilot plants and pilot exercises, pilot projects are being carried out. I think once we come together with the organizations like organizers already are here, that can be spread faster and easier. Next, I think it's just consolidating. So it is comfortably possible that we have a decentralized solution can be converted into traditions using the technology, appropriate technology, and it could be a garbage-free country, a real Swachh Bharat, and we can look at the waste from different perspectives. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for the thought that the technology should become a tradition, or the technology can become a tradition for waste management. This is, I think, a wonderful thought. Then actually in practice, we can do that. And through this also, we can change the picture of our country. यही थॉट जो आपने अभी कहा, उसी से रिलेटेड काम करते हुए हमारे अगले स्पीकर है मिस्टर रामदास कोकरे, जिन्होंने टेक्नोलॉजी और नॉर्मल प्रैक्टिसेस को एक ट्रेडिशन में चेंज किया है, एंड ही इज प्रैक्टिसिंग इट इन वेरियस रीजन्स ऑफ महाराष्ट्र. शुरुआत उन्होंने की वेंगुर्ला से, फिर वहां से कल्याण, डोंबिवली, after that Matheran, and now he is working in Latur. So our next speaker, I welcome him. He is Mr. Ramdas Tukaram Kokre. And he is going to speak on urban model of waste management. So Ramdas Tukaram Kokre ji is a dedicated individual with a strong commitment to environmental sustainability and public service. With a background in agriculture, he has made significant contributions in the field of waste management and community development. From his early years as a police sub-inspector in Ratnagiri to his tenure as a chief officer of various municipal councils, Kokre sir has consistently demonstrated his passion for creating cleaner and greener communities. During his tenure as a chief officer of Dapoli Nagar Panchayat, Kokre ji led impactful initiatives such as Plastic-Free Dapoli campaign and waste-to-energy projects. His emphasis on source separation or source segregation of wet and dry waste showcased his dedication to sustainable practices. As a chief officer of Vengurla Municipal Council, Kokre ji continued to make strides in waste management, receiving many awards for his city's exemplary sanitation efforts. His commitment to waste management has earned him numerous awards, including the prestigious Vasundhara Award and recognition from United Nations Development Programme. Through his extensive knowledge and experience, he has shared his expertise by delivering over 300 lectures on solid waste management. His contributions have made significant impact on creating cleaner and more sustainable communities. So, who has developed this Vengurla model in Vengurla town of Maharashtra? सर आपका स्वागत है और आप अपने अनुभव हमें शेयर कीजिए ताकि आप हम भी आपसे बहुत कुछ सीख सके, like on root level, what are the problems and how you came or how you gave the solutions on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anushka ma'am. As earlier speaker Manish ji, Santosh Gondrekar ji, Gurudas ji and Preeti ji shared their experiences. I am different person from these speakers, as I am a government officer and I am a implementing authority for this solid waste management. Thank you, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. Please share my PPT. Yeah. Yes, waste management in India, as its scenario, waste management comprises collective activity of segregation, collection, transportation, recycling, and disposal of waste. And in India, improper management is one of the main constraints behind this waste management. As a MOEF CC, responsible for managing waste, and Central Pollution Control Board and State Pollution Control Board regulates these activities. Waste is broadly categorized in municipal waste, industrial waste, hazardous waste, based on their origin and composition. As a specific rules and compliances are to be followed for safe handling and disposal of various type of waste. It is a well known that cities are huge contribution of municipal solid waste. India has one of the biggest landfill in Gazipur. Ideally, the landfill must comply with stringent regulations so as not to contaminate the soil, land, air, but it happens years together. As presently, India accounts for roughly 80% of world's population and 12% of its contribution in municipal solid waste. Next. As a MUF launched MSW 2016 rules, it has a positive impact on solid waste management. As a recovery from waste is a crucial element in waste management, as it reduces the volume of waste and prevents overloading of landfill. The informal recycling industry plays a vital role in solid waste management, provides employment opportunities to people in lower economic classes. But higher economic classes also involving in these activities is today's scenario. With increasing electronic waste, plastic waste, importance to encourage recovery while following the 3 Rs, reduce, reuse, recycle, community participation had increased in many regions across the country. With growing public awareness and participation in recent years, after Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, there is a environmentally consciousness among citizens also. And after Swachh Bharat mission, nationwide campaign was introduced by government to clean up the streets, roads, infrastructures, and processing of solid waste management. Next, please. Yes. in a solid waste management, there are two methods. That means centralized and decentralized method. The benefits and drawbacks are with these methods also. Next PPT. Next. Yeah. In centralized processing method, system with a high economic scale, and it follows system of single monitoring, and it has a high-end technology and environmental control. But in decentralized system, this system allows to lesser level of mechanizations that happens in centralized system. They create an opportunity for informal workers and small businessmen. This system lowers the cost of waste collection, transportation, and disposal. As area is small, it happens. This system provides suitable land for solid waste management facilities, composting, and recyclable sorting facilities also. There is no local opposition to plant as its volume is low. That's why there is a local acceptance also. Local experts or non-governmental organizations oversee the process in an environmentally acceptable manner, and municipality has in-house capacity for effectively monitoring system. Next, there are also some drawbacks in centralized system. It has a greater tract of land. There are many funding constraints as it requires more expenditure. So funding is also constrained there. There is a limited experience of urban local bodies as there is a big technology. There is a significant risk of environmental failure in system when environmental controls are not in place or monitored. And in decentralized system, availability of land in most urban neighborhoods is a constraint. Availability of technically qualified staff, ensuring periodic checkup, and ensuring financial viability of decentralized projects, particularly when qualified staffing is required. Next. There is some policy suggestions according to ground reality. As I experienced, user charges should be sufficient to fulfill expenditure on MFW. In 2018, Maharashtra government imposed user charges to urban local user charges to households. These user charges are in small quantity. So I would like to suggest that user charges should be sufficient to fulfill the expenditure on MSW of that urban local body. There should be a strict provision against defaulter of MSW 2016 rules, and EPR means extended producer's responsibility should be implemented strictly. As in MSW 2016, there is a provision of EPR under Rule 17, but there is no provision for defaulter of EPR. That's why it is not strictly followed according to MSW 16. MSW should be included in education system. Means solid waste management should be a lifestyle of each and every person. As children should adapt this management skill in their school days. So MSW rules, MSW adaptation should be included in education system. Zero waste policy should be the lifestyle of everyone. That means 3 R's, and how to process at their household level, means composting, and how to separate waste at their household level. This should be the adaptation at everyone. Waste should be reduced at its source, means reduce, reuse, recycle, rethink, and recover. Means that is a 5R principle should be followed by everyone. Next. I would like to introduce zero waste model of Vengurla to all of you. As Vengurla is the seashore city situated at the Arabian Sea in Sindhudurga district. When I was joined there in 2015, this city is like other cities. Means waste was dropped at roadside. There was no segregation. There was no processing. All these activities like other cities. But city is very nice, but waste was not handled with a scientific manner. Next. As there is a lighthouse at Vengurla, I took a meeting of citizens and I told them, as a lighthouse navigates ships, we will make such a model which will navigate all cities to how to manage their waste. And that was an inspiration for us. And then we took various meetings at ward level, at city level, and we focus on capacity building of staff and capacity building of citizens. We taught them how to collect waste, how to segregate it, and how to process. Next. As MLW 2000 rule, there was a wet and dry waste two compartment of waste, and in MSW 2016 there is a wet, dry, and domestic hazardous waste. There are only three components of waste, but I go ahead of this rule, and I suggested people to segregate their waste in 27 categories at their at source level. In early days, people opposed this concept as they were thought that how we can put 27 bins at 27 dustbins at our household levels. But we simplified this and domestic hazardous waste should be collected daily. But dry waste should be collected on a day-wise manner. Means on Monday, we are collecting only plastic. On Tuesday, we are collecting only papers. On Wednesday, we are collecting only glass bottles. Likewise, means that helps us to develop this system, because as waste we are collecting daily all type of waste, people have some psychological disorder behind it. They are not separating it very well. Means after 25 years of independence, people are not aware how to put their waste in their house. Means they are putting all waste in one dustbin, and when Gantagadi comes, citizens trying to separate it, but till that time, waste is contaminated at many levels. Means once we put in one dustbin, and after that we are trying to separate it, it become contaminated, and we are not getting proper recyclable value for that waste. That means each and every type of waste is important, but it should be separately collected. Wet waste is, in wet waste there are more types, means as a food waste, kitchen waste, hotel waste, vegetable fruit market waste, all these type of waste we can process it through biogas. But coconut nut shells, coconut husk, organic waste, dust, and ash, all that type of waste we can't process through biogas. That's why we collect it separately. Then garden waste, branches of trees, fronds of coconuts, all these type of waste we can't process through biogas, or we can't easily degrade it. So we collect it separately, we crush it, and we make briquettes from that garden waste. That's why there are about 9 types of wet wastes. And in dry waste, we are collecting separately metals, rubber, tubes, tires, chappals, sandals, boots, sanitary napkins. That is a hazardous waste. Sanitary napkins and diapers. But here's e-waste, electric tubes, thermocols, cloths, school bags. Means it is a resin material. That's why we can't process it. So that school bags, that resin material, we were sending to cement factories as a RDM. And chicken waste, if it is a wet waste material, we can't process through biogas or briquetting. We are making composting from chicken waste by other methods. So, and we are collecting waste in 27 categories, and all citizens were well acquainted with this segregation system. People thought that they are ahead of other cities. That proud feeling make it easy to make its sustainable model. This model is achieved with some key points. We provide adequate vehicles for collection. We display route maps, publish on website and social media. A GPS tracking system was well equipped with all vehicles, capacity building of staff and citizens, daily supervision by myself and my staff. Such key points make it easy to make this model sustainable. Next. These are the processing facilities, processing methods. First picture shows that briquette, garden waste is utilized to make a briquette. Next is biogas, that kitchen waste, hotel waste, fruit and market waste, all this waste is utilized to make a biogas, and through this biogas we run small equipment, small pumps and lights were ignited from this biogas. that methane helps to run the generator, and through this generator, this electricity is utilized for running some machines. Third picture shows agglomerator machine, which is utilized to crush the plastic. We banned on all type of plastic carry bags. Means Maharashtra government implemented single-use plastic ban in 2018. But since 2010, I was banning on single-use plastic since Dapoli, from Dapoli to Vengurla and other cities. I banned single-use plastic strictly. After banning this single-use plastic, there were about 60 to 80 kgs plastic we are collecting separately, and we are crushing this plastic and utilizing for road development. 8 to 10% plastic is utilized in hot mix plant, and in 2016 year we developed near about 25 kilometers of tar roads by utilizing that plastic, and there was a quite demand from PWDs also, and we were selling crushed plastic at 15 rupees per kg, and annually we were getting near about 5 to 6 lakhs from this crushed plastic material. Last picture is that is a screening machine. I developed this screening machine with 3 compartments for screening the compost material, and fine material we were selling 2 rupees per kg, and vermicompost material 10 rupees per kg to farmers, and biogas slurry 2 rupees per liter to farmers also. And from this Vengurla model, we were getting 1 lakh rupees per month revenue from this solid waste management. Next. Earlier, yes. First picture, we can see as every city, such dumping sites are there. After remediation of this dump site, such a beautiful landscape developed there. And in third picture, we can see various peoples coming there to study this Vengurla model, and this dumping ground turns into tourist spot, study center, and recreation place. As we renamed this dumping ground as a Swachh Bharat tourist point. Next. And till now, near about 7 lakh people visited this site also. And there was one shooting of one Marathi film also, as it became a recreation place. And we utilize all these lands for agriculture purpose, means maize cultivation, marigold cultivation, fruit cultivation, organic bananas, likewise. And we are also getting 2 to 3 lakhs from this agriculture crops. This was the first plastic road. Its benefits of utilization of plastic waste, strengthening of roads, and lesser potholes also. Next. As we know, there is a hurdle of El Nino for our monsoon. Likewise, there is a hurdle of plastic for our solid waste management. As we can ban plastic with 3 principles, means public awareness, alternatives means cloth bags, paper bags, and effective enforcement of law means penalties to defaulters. Next. Silent features of zero waste Benguela model are no need of dumping ground. Dumping ground turns into tourist spot, recreation place, and study center came into existence since October 2015. And after 7 years, 7 to 8 years, it is sustainable till now. I am visiting this place quarterly and suggesting some developments. Means guardianship of this model is with me, and I have my attachment with this Benguela, Karzat, Mathiran. No need of landfill, control on epidemics, inspire other local bodies more than 16 hours, and till now Benguela got near about 30 crores, and Benguela, Karzat, Mathiran, and Kalyan Domboli, all these cities got prices of more than 50 crore rupees with this initiative. And United Nations Development Program also published this story. Washington Post newspaper also published this news story. Can accept waste from adjoining area also. Means Benguela, after this model, we appealed others Gram Panchayats from adjoining area, and after beach cleaning campaign, all waste was collected at Benguela, and we process that waste, and some Gram Panchayats sending their waste at Benguela site. After this well-equipped model, we have a problem of shortage of waste. That's why we are accepting waste from adjoining area. At Karzat also, we were accepting waste from adjoining Gram Panchayats also. And proves waste is wealth as it generates revenue, and nothing is wasted from garbage. Earns more than 1 lakh at Benguela, 2 to 3 lakhs at Karzat, and more than 50,000 at Mathiran. And at Kalyan Domboli, we introduced one concept that some rack pickers we incorporated in this activity to collect dry waste, and we are getting royalty from that rack pickers also. That means 1,000 per work ton, means 2 to 3 lakhs rupees royalty we are collecting from rack pickers also. And one girls student from UK University, Leeds University, studied this Benguela model in her PhD dissertation, and more than 600 students made their study report on this Benguela model also. Next.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir, but we are actually running.
Okay. 2 to 3 minutes. All these hours we get for a Benguela model, and Benguela model we required 1 crore to develop this model, but we got near about 35 crores from this Benguela model, and various up in 2015, 16, 17, and 18. Any award function at Maharashtra and India level was not happened without Benguela. Next. Honorable Governor sir also asked me to give some introduction about this model, and sir gave me about half an hour for this discussion. Next. This is the eco-friendly Ganesh festival. These are the dumping grounds of various cities. First 2 pictures are dumping ground of Karzat. This playground is the dumping ground of Mathiran. After reclamation of dumping ground, it became a playground. Previously at Mathiran, this was the playground. After some years, people deposited their waste at that site, and it became a dumping ground. And I reclaimed it and I restored it as a playground. And last picture one is the Vengurla dumping ground. All these dumping grounds have zero waste dumping grounds. There is no landfill, no waste is deposited at that site. Since last some years, it is sustainable. Next. All these are the dry waste. Next. At each school, we introduce one concept. Each one teach 10, means each student should taught this concept at 10 houses. And in every class, there is a responsibility of one student for one day, and for a whole school, there is a responsibility of one teacher for one day. Likewise, they made their calendar and for supervision of these activities. Next. As our municipal solid waste comprises 4 to 5% of global warming contribution. As we manage it easily, manage it very well, there will be no greenhouse gases, and that waste will be converted into wealth. Means think globally, act locally to conserve biodiversity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. At root
And,
level, how? Yes.
And
yes,
this Vengurla model is included in 6th standard, 12th standard, and undergraduation studies also. Thank you.
Yes,
And
yes.
Mathiran people named one road by Ramdas Tukaram Kokre Road. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing this all detailed information about the Vengurla model. And the important is like how the root level solutions you have found out to make this Vengurla model successful and at the same time sustainable also. So now I think all the presentations are over and the panel is open for discussion. So before that, I really thank you for all your contributions and for today's discussion, today's topics also. And on the basis of that, we look forward about especially for what policy changes you require, changes in the policy for this better sustainable waste management. That should be our I think that will your inputs will be helpful for us in from this discussion. Thank you so much. The panel is open for discussion now.
अनुष्का जी, एक कविता आता है, का बड़ छोट कहत अपराध। इतने हम लोग सिर्फ यहाँ पर 5-6 लोग थे जिन्होंने अपने काम किए, और उसी में लगता है कि people have done so tremendous work which is inspiring also and sometimes intimidating, but we are ecopreneurs, so intimidation नहीं आता, inspiration ज्यादा आ जाता। So fantastic point from the Ramdas' story is that he is seeing the problem from the administration perspective.
Yes.
And there basically lies my question. Ramdas ji.
Yes, sir.
We go to a lot of places when we started, and that was the basic reason. When we started in 2013, I personally visited at least 10 to 15 places where people were saying fantastic model of waste management in India at that point in time. Most of those were farce. Most of those were just garbage dumping at some locations and trying to do something. In that capacity, we used to have this feeling that people who are responsible, the body officials, and what are they doing? But listening to you is entirely refreshing. It just shows that just one person, right person at right place, how they can make. Another thing that you told about the financial inspector. And there basically in one of the conferences, I was a panel member in Lok Sabha, where they were talking about waste and wealth, and I vehemently said, no, this is the wrong notion. You need money to solve the challenges of waste. Because you have created it waste. If it would have been end-of-life products, there was something to be done. But garbage is a garbage. You have to spend money to basically keep system and sustain it. So whatever you have done as a body of work, and second thing, you candidly accepted whatever is happening, and now people talk about indoor model, where people in this panel might be aware about it. I was there in one of the meetings. Anushka ji was also there, and so how you see that indoor model and what you have done, how these are different from the perspective of quantum of waste, the money spent on that, and that but people participate.
मला वाटतं सगळ्यांना मराठी समजते ना? इज देयर एनी प्रॉब्लेम ऑफ मराठी?
मनीष जी को हो सकता है
मनीष
थोड़ा
जी
सा।
को
सगळ्यांना समजते
you
ना?
can talk in Hindi.
हिंदी सर।
No problem, no problem. Manish ji, in 2016, there was one article in Nai Dunya newspaper of Indore. That writer published an article in Nai Dunya, and she asked for asked to Indore authorities, why you are not adopting Vengurla model at Indore. Before Indore, there was a well-equipped model at Vengurla, and that article was published in December 2016 in Nai Dunya newspaper also. Means before Indore's model, we have well-equipped, well-developed model at Vengurla. And Vengurla is the first success story of India, which is inspiring to all cities of India. And as Indore model, Indore got every year prizes, and that prizes they invest in their infrastructure development. That means that city become a celebrity city, and they have no problem of money. And now, but I appreciate Indore's sustainability. All officers focus on sustainability of Indore model. According to its demographic, according to its geographical condition, they adapted nice model. But as on today, there is no segregation system like Vengurla in India. As Ambikapur model, Indore model. Likewise, Vengurla, there was no any segregation system throughout India. As people feel proud to segregate in 27 categories. Means we have a basic principle: do not contaminate waste at your bucket. It should be means all type of waste. It is already separate, but we mixing it. Means to avoid contamination at source level is the basic principle behind Vengurla model. That's why we are getting much money for from a recyclable waste also. Yes. Anything else?
Yeah, we have
Yeah,
few
I think
questions.
before इसका economics क्या है? Is it a economically viable model as on date and operation? Yeah, it needs some subsidy from the government.
now Vengurla model, it requires 6 lakh per month, 6-7 lakh per month for total cities sanitation purpose. And we are getting 1 to 1.5 lakhs. And from other, from agriculture side also 50,000 per, means 2 lakh per month we are getting from this solid waste management. And near about 40% we are getting. But at Latur district, we introduced one model to collect waste and fulfill your expenditure. But in 3 months, we got a response from that vendors that he can fulfill his near about 70% of expenditure from this waste also. That means we can support him with user fees also.
Yeah. I think Gurdaji want to leave. I think he can contribute and go. Your comments and then.
So I was thinking, yeah, it is extremely wonderful to get to know what Ramdas Kokreji has done for Vengurla. And we are working with the Pune Metropolitan Regional Development Authority, PMRDA, on a project which is titled Cities as Urban Forests. So we want to mimic what goes on in a forest in a city, and especially with waste. So I'll be very happy to connect with Ramdas Kokreji and Manish Pathakji. Santosh, of course, that, we have a lot of friends in common, and Santosh, I'm definitely going to connect with, because we have another project where we are looking at working on agro residue in an organized manner for that. So for that, and of course, Preeti ji just left, but I think her work has also been phenomenal. I think what we need to do is, if each one of us can send 5 to 10 points, which will be or sent on email to each of us, then we can create one document and look at overlapping things, look at points which are converging on some point, and then that can be sent as a nice capsule, which will be the output of this.
Yeah, that would be great. So that will be great. Yeah. We have few questions also, if you
So I need to leave because I have another meeting coming up.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Ramdas ji.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for your nice inputs.
Thank you for the wonderful moderation.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have few questions also for Gondhalikar, sir.
Yeah.
For you, we have few questions like what policy measures can be implemented to promote the adoption and integration of technology in traditional waste management systems? Like, we want to know your opinion for that.
I think for any tradition or technology to sustain, it has to be economically viable model as on today. Because that's why I asked question to Ramdas ji as well. If the value addition of the products that you are collecting is more than what you do expenditure, and your revenues are more than expenditure, then these models will be sustainable across. I think some technology intervention would be required, where we should be in a position to value add the thing. Like for bio CNG or biogas, you said, biogas can be converted into power. Electricity, but it fetches a value of only 5 to 10 rupees a unit. But if we convert the same biogas into CNG, we get 80 to 100 rupees a kg for the same value. So this is a technological intervention that will make waste management economically viable. So similarly, if you just for RDF, you may be having some refuse derived fuel, plastics and gutka packets and all other things. It can also should fetch value. There has to be a technology where if we can convert. So policy measures should be such that they should promote technological interventions so that the value addition should be more than, so if say today we are getting 2 rupees a kg for the waste, whatever, or we need to do expenditure to transport it and dispense it somewhere, there has to be a value addition instead of expenditure. So then only, so similar technical intervention with startup, there are many startup initiatives, technical initiatives, which can identify each and every atom. What Ramdaji was already collecting 50 different odd atoms. So each atom should be converted to maximum value addition product. So that kind of intervention, a technology promotion can be promoted, technology interventions can be promoted, then things will change. So even what we are doing, we did a lot of research and now we are in a position to value add that thing. So like that, that policy measures should also be introduced as a
Okay.
technical
Yes,
upgradation.
Gudalkar Sirji,
Yeah.
you rightly said, but there should be a backup from government policies also
Yeah, yeah.
for start up these initiatives. Means
Yeah.
for a plastic waste, if there is a processing industry at each district, and if there is a value addition for plastic, so it will get a good prices, and it will fulfill our expenditure.
Yes, yes.
Means for a startup, such a startup, there should be some promotions from
Correct.
policy decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I have one question to Manish ji also. Manish ji.
बताइए.
Yeah. What role can policy and regulations play in promoting the R culture for waste management and encouraging eco-friendly practices during the festivals also related to our culture?
See, policy framework basically works as an enabler. There are n number of policies which basically happened, but not only today, but environmental policies are in place for long times. It might be good, bad, doesn't matter. Important part is the implementation. The intent to implement the policy in dictum is something that is missing for such a long time in our system. Without any such policy, without any such harmonization program also, Ramdas, he was able to do a lot of things. So it is basically the intent, the marriage of individual will, the policy, and entrepreneurial skills, which basically gets emancipated by technology. That creates the winning formula in certain extent.
Okay.
So two parts are important. One part is the intent of government to implement the policies. Second part is the role of being enabler. Society has always found ways and means of living sustainable. Policy just needs to be enabler, and as far as it needs to be open. For example, a lot of things doesn't happen with the want of funds, and sometimes the implementation of funds, not even want of funds, implementation of funds are put in the hands who don't have willingness. So there should be a yardstick. In the private sector, we have a yardstick. If you are not performing, how it is measured. In the public sector also, the same thing needs to happen so that there is a balance basically which is attained.
Okay. Okay. So I guess, as Gurudas sir said, if you can connect with each other and give us a statement on it before around on by 1st of June, it will be great for us, so that we could for the main session, which is going to be on 3rd and 4th, means on that session we can present it all your views over there. Nihar, anything from your side, please let me know.
No, just a correction. We would appreciate it if you could give it by 29th or 30th, because the final policy draft has to be drafted before 3rd and 4th. So the zero draft has to be drafted on 31st.
Sure, I will try to do that. Before that, Santosh ji,
Yeah.
there's a lot to learn from you. In Punjab, there is a plant we are associated now, 200 metric ton parallel to biomass. Now
Okay.
but your expertise
Where it's located?
Mansa.
Mansa.
Yeah. But again, the policy, for example, again, this will from our side also, there is a policy of mixing these biomass into normal fuel. But what about the cost? You cannot compare it with the cost of fresh coal, because there is a cost which is involved in producing this particular thing, and this is not coming in a natural way. So that needs to be encouraged, that it has to be implemented, and it should not be in the red tape, because individuals and entrepreneurs, the moment they enter into doing something, in want of such policy implementation, they go bust. And once one person, one success story goes out bust, it basically creates a deterrent for a lot of new incumbents. So there is a policy to implement, to use it in power sector, but what is the price they are ready to pay? So that needs to be ascertained.
Yeah.
Yes, I think.
Yeah. We'll
We
keep
had
connected. Yeah.
Yes. And is there anything to discuss? We are still have a bit time, and it's okay. I know there is a lot to speak on it, and this just within 2 hours is very less for that.
Yeah.
We're more efficient, and we basically saved some time. Reduce the first hour of our reduction of our visual presentations we have done.
Yes. So on behalf of Poornam Ecovision, on behalf of Poornam Ecovision, I would like to thank you all for giving your precious time and giving your valuable insights in this panel discussion. Thank you so much from all of us from Poornam team, and have a
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.